Hi, good afternoon, dear colleagues, and thank you so much for inviting me today to speak to you. My name is Irina Kim-Sen, and I am a professional marketer. As you can see, I just invented a new word, which is professional and passionate marketer. And I find myself a pretty creative person. So today, I want to see if we can kind of check the creativity skills in this room. So besides creativity, there is something else that I really value. Is practicality. So as you can see on the screen, we are going to be talking about practical creativity. All right, guys. I gave you, at the beginning of the class, I gave you a piece of paper. You actually have to, you should have two. So pull out one, OK? And I'm going to challenge you right now as we were challenged yesterday. Guys, remember the moment when we heard that we're going to present tomorrow? Right? So you were like, oh, what I'm going to do? So 55 ideas ran through your head, correct? So let me ask you, what was your method of actually starting taking notes and trying to think what you're going to do tomorrow? So how would you traditionally approach note-taking if you would have given a task like to plan tomorrow's day or to do the plan for next year or come up with an idea for a new present for your friend, etc.? So give me some answers. How do you actually come up with the writing style when you have to come up with a solution, alternative solutions? You can, right, OK. But so it's pretty much, guys, a list, an outline. And in most of the cases, it is called vertical linear thinking. So it's going to be the items, right? You're going to have a list with the items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes people can immediately prioritize them, right? So they can have 1, 1.1, 1.2. So it depends on the personality. But in 90% of the situations, most people are going to make a list or an outline of things to do, OK? So you think this is probably the only way, but I'm going to be sharing with you the technique that I have learned more than 20 years ago, and I find it the most useful tool that I have ever learned, and that allowed me to actually combine my two passions, to be creative and to be practical. So that skill is called mind mapping. This is actually a technique. Can you please raise your hands if you have heard about such technique as a mind map? All right, very good. So we have half of the room that is going to learn something new today. All right, perfect. So when we consider the disadvantages of making a list, let's say something else comes up to your mind. You're actually limited to the list because there is no space to add something, right? You already finished it. So in the mind mapping is as an alternative way to do note-taking as well as to change your thinking process. This will certainly be a solution to overcome that constraint of the list. So let me start teaching you this technique, and we're certainly going to practice it right away so that when you leave this room, you're going to know how to do it. So pull out the second page, OK, where we're going to do the actual technique. So please follow me as I mentioned, 5-step process. We're going to use step number 1. Your blank piece of paper has to be laid horizontally. So this is the key. So that's why I'm going to draw horizontal layout. The reasons for that we are not placing the sheet vertical because you don't want to limit your thinking into the vertical. It will tend you to put into the list. So let's put it horizontal. The second step, guys, in the middle of the list, we have to write down or draw the problem, situation, or the outcome that we would like to achieve. So in this case, you probably have some idea that you have to present tomorrow, which is actually today, and your presentation is only 7-minute talk, which is the biggest, I think it's very challenging because the less time you have, the harder it gets, right? So you have to deliver 5-minute presentation. So this is your center objective and the goal to come up with alternative solutions and to make sure that you have all the components in place to make it effective, correct? So this is the starting point. The next point, which is step number 3, we're going to draw main idea thoughts, OK? So as the main branches. For example, for me, yesterday, and I can show you, I have a proof how I did it yesterday. Immediately as we were given a task, you put together, OK, potential topics of interest for me, because you want to be talking about something that you're very passionate about, right? So I put topics. Okay, so this is the first direction of thought that I want to start thinking about, right? What could be the second, guys, branch of this map or the road? What else I had to think about? Yes, like additional materials, visual aids, right? Very good. So let's put them visual aids. All right, anything else? What could be our next branch? Okay, you have to consider the audience. This was a big discussion yesterday that we have to relate to the audience. I could be jumping here upside down playing ping pong, and that could be irrelevant to you. So I kind of thought that something that would be of the relevance you would appreciate more. So the audience. All right, and so forth. So what will happen is that at the end of the first initial lines, right, of thought, which are the main branches of thought, you can start now narrowing down to that particular branch. So let's say you have topics, so you can come up with 5, 6 different alternatives, right? With the visual aids, you can come up with other ideas. And the last one, okay, the last one is the audience. You may appeal only to women, or you may appeal only to men in this room, etc. So that will certainly set up a completely different direction of thought. By the end of this picture, guys, what the practical application of this is that you will be able not only to think through all the details of your presentations, which is considered to be vertical thinking, but also horizontal thinking, because you have accomplished everything. Thank you. Thank you.